Bold accusations from a top Republican that President Obama is not being truthful about our economy. Congressman Paul Ryan came out swinging, questioning the president's policies. As the national debt clock ticks past the $15 trillion mark, here's Ryan on Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace.
All this war savings, it's mythical money. It's all borrowed money. It's basically saying we're not going to spend all this extra money in Afghanistan and Iraq in the future, and therefore we're going to take that money we would have otherwise borrowed and spend it on all these other programs. The president isn't leading. The president isn't being truthful with the American people about what kind of fiscal train wreck is coming.
Justin Sayfie is a Mitt Romney supporter and former Jeb Bush spokesman. Kirsten Powers worked on the Clinton-Gore team. She's a Fox News contributor. She writes for the Daily Beast. She does everything. How you two doing out there? Good morning to both of you.
Good. How are you?
Right,
doing great.
I tell you,
Good morning.
Ryan came out swinging, as I mentioned there, with Chris Wallace on Sunday morning, talking about a fiscal train wreck, talking about a future of debt, doubt, and decline. What are we to make of this, Justin?
Well, right on. I say right on to Representative Ryan. The members of Congress and the Republicans need to call President Obama out. Where is his deficit reduction plan? We have a $15 trillion deficit. It's a top issue for many voters across the country, and he hasn't done anything this year to seriously propose reducing the federal debt. So I say kudos to Representative Ryan. I hope more Republicans in Congress do that.
Where is the debt plan, Kirsten? The White House talks about $2 trillion, whether it's from this pile or that pile. What do you say to Justin?
Well, I think it's right that obviously the debt is out of control, and I don't think a lot has been done to address that issue. And it's a huge issue, particularly among independent voters who are really the ones that are going to decide the election.
Indeed, you're right about that. Is he vulnerable on that front then, do you think?
Sure, absolutely. I think that independent voters have a major concern that, that there's too much spending. Democrats come into, sort of ironically, in my opinion, considering how much money Republicans spent when they were in control, but Democrats do sort of come in with this idea that they're the people that spend a lot of money. So he already has that sort of built in against him. And then he has to, overcome the fact that the deficit has been increasing and show that he's serious about decreasing it.
This is going to be a huge issue, whether it's Romney or Gingrich, Justin.
Absolutely. It's going to be a huge issue. I mean, look, here in Florida, almost 50% of homeowners in South Florida are underwater on their home mortgages. The home is worth less than their mortgage. Now you add on top of that the trillions and trillions of dollars of federal debt that's being passed on to our children. I think it's going to become a huge issue, and there's too much debt, too much red ink, and the people that propose solutions to getting at that red ink and getting at that debt, they're going to have an electoral advantage, and I think President Obama is leaving himself very, very vulnerable in swing states like Florida if he doesn't have a plan to take on the national debt.
Let me get back to that, but Kirsten, here's a question about leadership, because that's what Paul Ryan was going at in this interview. And he talked about poll-tested lines in the State of the Union address with no follow-up, is what Ryan accuses, outsourcing leadership to committees and then decrying the results of those committees.
Well, I have to say, I thought Paul Ryan's interview just sounded like a bunch of Republican talking points. I don't think he elevates the discussion very much, and I know a lot of Republicans think that he's really great, but he's the person who helped start this fire.
But you're the one that just said that the president's vulnerable on the debt.
The president can be vulnerable on the debt, and Paul Ryan could be giving a political speech. Those two things can be true. I think the way that he makes it out that somehow this is, that Paul Ryan's so serious about this and Barack Obama isn't. The truth is, neither of them are particularly serious about it. Paul Ryan found religion when Barack Obama became president. Prior to that, he was voting for TARP and bailouts and every single deficit budget that President Bush put up there, deficit spending for the wars. I mean, I could go on and on, and then now he suddenly is making it out that
he put forward entitlement reform too,
which nobody really wants to adopt in the Republican Party.
But he was the one who signed his name to it. Justin, what about this?
Well, yes. I mean, the president is the president of the United States. He is the leader of our country. It is up to him to lead. If he is not willing to lead on this issue, then he needs to be replaced. I mean, to say that Paul Ryan didn't get religion, okay, well then when will President Obama get religion on tackling the federal debt? He barely even mentioned it in his State of the Union address last week. I think that tells voters all they need to know about where his priorities are. He's trying to soak the rich. He wants to increase taxes on the wealthy wealthy. That seems to be his only plan to reduce the deficit. That's not going to sell well.
It sounds like a campaign that would be borne out for 9 months. Justin, I asked you about Florida. Kirsten, can President Obama win Florida, given this climate with foreclosures and issues about health care and the unemployment rate in Florida at 9.9%?
Well, I mean, these are I mean, across the country, the unemployment rate is obviously a huge issue for him. It's hard to say what will happen with Obama until we know who the candidate's going to be that he's running against. If he's running against Gingrich, I think yes. If he's running against Romney, then he has a much tougher race.
Oh, Kirsten, thank you. Interesting stuff. Justin,
Thank you.
thanks to you as well. Big vote tomorrow,
Thank
Florida.
you.
Thanks, Justin. See you guys later.
All right.